the best one has been getting a coach myself, like by a mile, constantly working on myself. I always have a coach, business coach, mentors. Like I have a dream team of people around me who push me, support me, challenge me, give me feedback. Without them, it would be very difficult for me to kind of build my business as I go. So for sure. So I'm always spending money on myself.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Kevin, and today we are joined by Claudia Lambrichs-Lindenbergh. I hope I said your name right.
You do.
Yeah, we're kind of drilling it before pre-podcast, but you've been a coach for 10 years. I read on your LinkedIn bio that you are also an ex-pro athlete, but welcome to the show, Claudia.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm really excited to get into things.
Yeah, and dude, there's like, even before we did the podcast, there's so many things I was just so curious about you, but I was like, dude, we gotta just save it for the podcast. First question for you. What's your credit card number? No, just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to hear your origin story, the lore. How were you like a pro athlete turned coach? Tell me about like, what was that realization when you wanted to become a coach? I'd love to hear the story.
Yeah. So I have been a professional athlete until I was 18, 19 years old, a professional swimmer, part of the Dutch national team. I had to work out, I don't know, like 8 or 10 times a week. It was just like my life. And at the same time, I was also like in the midst of puberty. So faced quite a few challenges. And afterwards, I remember also like having this conversation with my father, where he also said like, Claudia, please also be smart about your education and stuff. Finish your high school, get your diplomas. Unfortunately, with swimming, you don't earn as much as with tennis. So you get flowers and a bath cap when you become national champion. So, and you need to pay 250 euros yourself. So it was like, okay, kind of like a trade-off. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. But there was this big question lingering. Will I train for the Olympics, yes or no, and move internally and leave school? So I decided to not do that due to multiple circumstances and started focusing on getting my university degree, getting into the corporate world, kind of like how a lot of people are wired when it comes to success. It's kind of the normal trajectory that you're after. And so I did that for a couple of years, worked at different roles, different industries. And I remember also being in a position when I was entering 30s. I was leading a team of 20 people working in a VC world where everything moved super, super fast, working 60-hour work weeks, if not more, eating pizza at 11 p.m. And I really enjoyed it. But there came this moment where I was like, oh, wow, like, is this it? Like, is this seriously what we're all been taught to do and to like how we should go about work and what kind of role work should place into our lives. So I saw a lot of startups around me. I was in a startup scale-up scene, and I saw a lot of companies around me who scaled pretty massively and quickly and rapidly. And they had such a great product, but pardon my Dutch directness, you might experience a little bit more of this throughout the episode, like very shitty leadership. And the leadership, what I saw is that people are just not fully equipped to grow in the same pace as the company does.
Yeah. Like when you say shitty leadership, what does symptoms look like? What, like if we look into that business, what did you see?
Yeah. And I want to say as a disclaimer, it all comes with a good intention, right? Like it's not like intended to not show up as the best leader, but you could see that it became like highly transactional environments. Suddenly there's this, I don't know, like imagine being 30 and then suddenly you need to lead a team through hypergrowth. So your company grows from 5 people to 1,000 people within 2 years, scaling to multiple countries. Like that's super tough. That's and no one teaches you. So you could see that the environments that were created were a bit toxic. And in the end, it's the people who build your product and build your company, right? So I thought, there's tons of stuff that I cannot do well, but I thought I need to help people within their leadership role and help them see a few things and prioritize some stuff to build this company that they really want. Because they put in so much energy, so much effort, so much time. Let me focus on that. So that's sort of like the gateway into coaching. And then I pivoted a few times and now I have my own style. But that's kind of how I ended up in the coaching business.
What was that conversation like when you're like transitioning? When you saw that opportunity, how did you bring up that conversation with those founders?
Well, it started with obviously also like resigning from my current role and really going solo. And then positioning yourself as a coach and really believing in what it is that you do. But the conversation actually gone pretty smoothly in a way that I understand where they come from. I've also been a leader myself in that space. So I never try to be condescending or be like a sort of like a trainer or teacher, but more like, you know what? I think I can help you. I know that this is what you would love to build. Let me help build you. And that actually went pretty okay. Yeah.
It's really interesting. I love the whole empathy and like also assuming, I think sometimes when we bring up, like, I don't know how it is over there in the Netherlands, but sometimes in the US, we assume the worst case scenario will come up. Like, yeah, it's just really interesting how you brought that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's fast forward to your current business right now. Everyone talks about ideal client profile and the target audience that we help. So how did you kind of decide who you wanted to help? I think your previous experience kind of alluded to it, but love to see how it developed over the years.
Yeah. So I noticed more and more that my ideal client profile are the high achievers in this world. It's also a profile that I can very much relate to myself. It's a fine line between being a high achiever and an insecure overachiever, right? I mean, they're the best profile for any company. Like if you give them just an inch of feedback, they will prove you that they're worth it. They will run even harder. It's also the profile that has the highest chance of having a burnout. So I fully understand like their sort of like internal DNA and how you're wired, also with my professional athlete background, but then also the industries in which I worked and the type of jobs that I felt comfortable in, that I thought like, this is where I also have credibility. This is where I do not have to prove who I am. They will then listen to me, right? And I also noticed that in a coaching business, people are looking for, does she have the right amount of credibility? Does she have a similar frame of reference? And that makes it easier to relate to people. And also for me to stay, to a certain extent, a bit within my comfort zone, but then out of my comfort zone with all the tools and stuff that I wanted to teach them, learn them, and guide them through. But then at least with the profile and the persona, I knew like, okay, we're on the same wavelength. I'm just a little bit further, a little bit more self-conscious. So that's why I can help you. And if I ever bump into someone who's more self-conscious, they definitely should coach me. So I also have my coaches. But back to the question of who's my persona, like my ideal client profile is definitely the high achiever, struggling, having multiple roles as part of their identity, meaning maybe being a parent, friend, partner, child to their parents, grandchild, etc., right? Like, and building a successful business. Like, how do you combine all that stuff without burning out?
Yeah. Is there anything kind of unique about like high achievers? Is there anything unique about coaching high achievers than like when comparing to coaching other people, I guess?
I can only speak from experience that I have coached leaders, like always, or like managers, leaders. But if I kind of would say what makes them unique is that they're very willing to learn, for sure. There's also a certain level of speed versus depth, like a constant balance between speed versus depth required. They intellectually quickly grasp concepts. So it's more about how do I internalize these things that I've learned and can I really feel them through rather than, being really smart and understanding them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love their energy. they're also like a fun bunch to work with. So I don't have like my coaching business is like a dull business. Like we seriously also have fun, flow, energy, very deep conversations as well. But yeah.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, before the podcast too, I was just talking about your energy, and there's something about your energy that's like very uplifting and stuff. I'm sure your clients kind of feel that too. So it's very interesting to
Thank
see your
you.
approach there too.
Thank
Yeah, of
you.
course.
I appreciate that.
Okay. So high achievers, like these are your ideal client profile, I guess. So let's talk about the marketing. How do these people typically find you? What kind of marketing channel?
So the interesting thing, what I've noticed is that once you start coaching founders, partners of funds, or professional athletes, that's a bit like the group of high achievers that I coach, they very often come referred. So word of mouth is really important because they simply want to quickly trust someone. So they call their friend or they ask around in the industry and then they say, who should I have? And then it's a really small world. So I'm at the same time a bit in a niche, I guess. But also I always try to be very visible online on LinkedIn. And I take that very seriously because as a coach, you are your own brand. And that also came with lots of hiccups and visibility issues and uncertainty. Every time you upgrade yourself, it's like, boom, there's another roadblock, mental block to get away or to remove. But yeah, I'm kind of like up for the challenge. And I really believe now in what I stand for. So basically newsletter, people subscribe, word of mouth, also coaches, like recurrent clients after 2 years, like, hey, can we have another coaching journey of 6 months? I'm like, yeah, let's see. What is it you currently need? And if I'm the right match, yeah, maybe I'm also a bit lucky, but in flow. So no cold calling, no sales messages send out, luckily never had to do it. I don't know.
One of the interesting words that you used was hiccups. Can you tell me about some of the challenges that you kind of face with like kind of the marketing? It seemed like you like specifically with it sounds like you experienced the hiccups through content marketing.
Yes, for sure. So the first one is like the being reliable. So I have a love-hate relationship, or had it, with LinkedIn. I was like, yeah, I'm doing great, okay. And then, oh my God, I only have 5 likes. And then the algorithm changed and it just kind of did something to me. So I noticed like, oh, it could make me insecure, right? Like, why do I own, like, I thought it was a good post, and then I stopped posting again for another 2 weeks, and then I regained my confidence, and there I was online. So, and we all know LinkedIn does not like that. So that was also the first moment where I thought, you know what, I'm going to get some support in, like somebody who can really coach me, somebody who can guide me, somebody who can hold me accountable, because it's sometimes also, at least I noticed that it made it easier for me. So one of the hiccups was all the beliefs that I held to be true about visibility. Like, who am I to say something to, I don't know, 1,000 people? Who am I? Am I really the expert? But yeah, now I'm like, whoever wants to read it can read it. They can unfollow me at any given time. I'm getting really nice, like a few messages here and there where people said it really helped them in the right moment. And that's like a real confidence booster. So I guess that's like the biggest issue that I faced, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Because one of the things that I hear from coaches too, when their business heavily relies on word of mouth, sometimes like the lead flow or the flow isn't always consistent. Are you kind of running into that at all? Or like, how do you kind of deal with that, I guess? Like, have you noticed that challenge at all on your end?
That it is inconsistent, yes, but I try to more like plan for a year. So where I'm more like, okay, within a year, I would love to have so many clients. And that also helped me stay away from not having a successful week or month where I'm like, it will come back. Like it will. So there is a strong trust, easier said than done, obviously. But yeah, that's something where I noticed, okay, there is a bit of irreliability in terms of how they come in. And now I'm at this phase where I'm like, I want to plan it better. And what I also started doing, I think a year ago, 2 years ago, where I commit with clients by now this year it's 9 months. So people commit to 9 months. I changed my approach. So I'm also selling differently. So now I'm able to to plan my year already in almost like January to March. I kind of know if I'm good or not.
9 months. That's an interesting number because I don't know. I think in like
Yeah.
6, 3, 6, then 12, not 9. But how did you come up
Yeah,
with 9?
I can say that there's like a scientific approach behind this and full analysis. That's not, it's just that after 6 months, 80% or 85% prolonged to a year. And then I thought, ideally, I want to get to a year, right? Like a yearly subscription. But let's start with 9 months this year. And then next year, I'm going to do 12 months. So it was more my own internal belief of, can I really ask somebody to commit for a year? So here you go.
Okay.
There's another hiccup. If you upgrade yourself, it's like, okay, yeah, is a year not too long? Should I do it differently? So I'm like, 9 months feels good.
You bring up a very good point about offers, by the way, and how you restructure your offers from like and increasing it to 9 months, and maybe in the future you're going to increase it to 12. But one of the things I love about this podcast is that I get to hear different business models and see what's working for some coaches at different stages. I've heard some people have like different coaching modalities, like one-on-one coaching, group coaching, masterminds, and all that. But if you're comfortable sharing, like what kind of coaching modalities do you offer with your services? Is it mainly just one-on-one? Do you have you experimented with others? I'd love to kind of hear your offers.
Yeah, for sure. So I never exceed 15 people at any given time for private coaching to really hold that like mental space for them, because I'm a pretty, you can say, committed coach. So with me, it's not only sessions, but like, as I said, like you subscribe and you're then in my energy field, and I'm going to do everything I can to get you from point A to point B in a holistic way. So I have a very, like, people WhatsApp me, send voice notes. We have lots of like homework exchange in between, etc. So it really feels like you're going on a journey with me. And that is also an approach that I personally really like, because I noticed where people were like, yeah, let's do maybe another session next month or maybe in 2 months whenever I'm ready. And I'm like, yeah, that just doesn't work for me, because I want to deliver impact, but then I also know what's required to get a person there. So I said, these will be my terms and conditions. So I have this laser focus, or try to have my clarity on what do I really believe in. And then that's what I'm going to offer to people. And that's what they can subscribe for. And then next to it, I have a few clients that I facilitate or coach them with their executive teams quarterly. And then I sometimes fly out to, I don't know, could be US or within Europe, where I then coach them as an executive team. And I now have built and launched my online program, because I did notice that there were more people who wanted to be coached or learn stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I should open this to any high achiever in the world. Like, why limit myself and not have that impact? So I bundled like really cool coaching exercises, and I named the course Master Your Energy, Master Your Life. And it's basically all the stuff I believe in an online program. And I will be running it for the first time in October, starting October.
Wow. That's like just a month from now.
I know. Like yesterday, I got the confirmation that the first company bought it for 60 to 65 leaders.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, it was nerve-wracking to build that whole thing, but now I'm like, it's done. Because I also got inspired by so many coaches out there who have these online programs. And I'm like, I do not want to stay behind. Like, this is also something I want and I also believe in. So yeah, here we are. So that's what I do. But it will be more of scaling and less of individual coaching.
Yeah. Have you tried any offers in the past, and maybe you're like, man, this is not for me? Like, have you ever experimented with any offers in the past?
You mean that didn't work?
I won't say didn't work, actually, because I've actually had these conversations on this podcast where something actually did work, but energetically they're like not feeling this, you know? So I don't want to assume.
Well, here's like an interesting thought that I realized over the years, is that I want to work with people that are also highly appreciative and respectful of my time and my effort and my energy, and who really take it seriously. So when I started out and I was insecure about fee structures and pricing, and I was maybe then a bit on the lower end, I noticed that people were constantly over asking, could you help me with this? Could you help me with that? And it just didn't feel energetically the right thing to do. Now, I am a hard worker. I always had multiple side jobs during my time. Like I do not mind working, but I felt something was off. So I consciously and intentionally worked my way up to where I currently am. And then suddenly everything goes with ease and flow, and like everybody's respectful. They don't overstay. Like, right? Like it really works. So I guess that's something I would never have expected up front, where I would be like, okay, so if you increase your fee or if you increase your packages or double them or whatever, and then suddenly things go easier than before.
You bring up a really good point too about pricing. You don't have to give any hard numbers, but if you're open to it, I love to talk about pricing strategy because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of coaches actually struggle here. And so how do you structure your pricing? Because I know some coaches, they do hourly, others do project based, some do value based or outcome based. Like, where are your thoughts about like structuring your offers, I guess?
Yeah. And I'm also happy that you bring it up, because it would have been really nice if people spoke more about it, like openly. And I sometimes, if I speak to coaches, like we have more like confidential conversations, and I'm always willing to, if I speak with a person one-on-one, to share like how I do stuff, how I plan financially, etc. Because I don't think it should be necessarily a secret.
Yeah.
And it's really great to help people that way. What I said before with like, I wanted to plan my work more effectively. I have 2 daughters. I have a husband who started his startup. So I'm the main provider for years, which obviously also makes you then a bit more commercial, I guess. But I do believe that such as with any profession, you have to also think commercially and at the same time deliver like the right value for it. So I feel really comfortable with more like the subscription. So people have an X amount of hours. What I said, like I'll give them extra things. Like I'm holding that space, the homework, the WhatsApp messages, the constant contact. Like that's what I noticed that I was doing anyway, but then I would not structure it so they have 2 coaching hours, but I would not charge only 2 hours, right? It would be more. So I charge 4 or 5 hours. And they don't know it's hours, right? So they see the package price. And then that's what they then sign up for 9 months.
Yeah, I like that subscription model too, because I think a lot of times, like with hourly, people are like, oh, I want to make sure I get my bang for my buck. That for some reason that turns on for a client.
I know. And I just don't like those conversations, because I don't think they're like fair conversations where people start calculating and they're like, oh, it's more than a lawyer. Like it should be more about value. And I think it's super interesting. I would love to hear people who also like, or coaches who structure it like more value based. And I think also within the US, they're much further than also here in Europe. But I think it's so pretty cool if you can say, this is what it costs. And, and I'm so confident that we will, I will get you there and you get yourself there.
Yeah.
But this is what it is. You pay up front. And then that's how I think it should be and go. So I still have a few steps to make, I guess.
Yeah, I love the whole value-based offers and stuff like that. That's like one of my favorite ways to structure things. But yeah, no, but it's really interesting because something that really sticks out to me is like even if the client has an option for hourly, the client doesn't even enjoy hourly because they have to calculate stuff and be like, is this coach ripping me off? Like, especially if it's a new type of thing. And it's just like not a good experience for the coach. It's not a good experience for the client, So it's just a lose-lose for everyone.
Yeah. And then I think what's one of the hardest things is to then be comfortable with people saying no.
Yeah.
Like, just like, okay, then it's not for you. And that's fully fine. So one of the things that I think since 2 years, I just not compromise.
Yeah. There's this really interesting book, as you probably heard, Never Split the Difference, right?
Yes. And what's my dad's favorite book? He said, you should read it, Claudia. Yeah.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
It's really great. But I think it becomes like, one thing I appreciate about you coming on this podcast is that it seems like you're very clear on your boundaries, like, and all that. And it seems like there was a little bit of trial and error throughout the years. And I'm kind of curious, like, what kind of boundaries have you had to set in your business with clients, your time, your pricing that was hard but necessary? What are some of the things that you discovered?
Oh, yeah. So one thing, for example, is if people cancel last minute a coaching session.
Yeah.
But you as a coach, you really book the time and the effort. And so what I always said, like, I will make reasonable efforts to try to rebook the time with another client. But if I cannot do it, I will charge you. But then the first time charging a client, or now I have this more like a policy where I say, first time can happen, right? From both sides. Second time around, I will charge you the full fee. And that was, I think, like a hard thing to do, where some people were like, yeah, but I'm like, no, we have an agreement. We have a contract, not so much like on paper, but more like a personal contract, right? This is how we should work together. Like, we should count on each other. So I found that in the beginning so hard to do, and sometimes still. But with my new model, it's also more flexible for both sides, actually. So I'm rarely ever in that situation. So if people reschedule, I know that they're going to use their time maybe later the month if I'm available, and if not, it is a retainer or subscription, right? So that's not my responsibility then.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
exactly. So it really changed also the responsibility, and I think that's something that I always felt. So I think that was a hard thing to do. Yeah, maybe if I notice that people are, it's not anymore with this model, but like in the past, people have been overusing like the time. So for example, they would start sometimes at the end of a coaching session, something very deep and personal, but then they didn't want to be charged extra. So then if you then have multiple clients and every time you run 30 minutes over, that's quite a lot of time and effort. So I placed, like, let's say somewhere a clock in the room where I'm like, okay, like I know, because I didn't want to watch on my phone, like all that stuff. But it's more like a sort of like personal boundaries. Like, do I value myself enough to also place these boundaries, and also be okay if it's maybe triggering on the other end? But I actually never, if you say it with kindness and with love, it's hardly ever really triggering. So that's one thing. And I think another thing is working with different types of clients. So if you work for a corporate, you have a large procurement department, and you need to hand in, I don't know, like 30 documents, back and forth, approval systems, whatnot, due diligence. So before you even start, it's like, okay, I already spent quite a bit of energy, so it has to be worth it.
Which leads me to ask you too. I know prior to the podcast, you mentioned that you had desires like of potentially scaling.
Yeah.
Have you hired for your current business at all, or have you had any hires quite yet?
Yes, a recent hire, or a year ago, I started working, with somebody who really helped me with my website and all the stuff. And now she's also now helping me out with the online program that I sold, to help with technical integrations on their learning platform. But I definitely need an assistant. Like, that's something I now bump into. I just cannot. That's what I notice. And I have people helping me out with social media. Two amazing, wonderful individuals who are so lovely and really get what I try to build. But yes, the next step is also letting go of control and getting an assistant. So I guess that's the next theme, right? There we have another hiccup. It's like, it's okay to let go of control, Claudia. You can do this. So step by step.
I really relate to that, actually. Like,
Yeah,
actually
you
have
do?
this.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, actually, it's really funny because I hired like for years and years and years. I just did everything myself. Like, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like I feel like I'm running an omakase restaurant at a Japanese restaurant. I'm also the one doing the trash and also like cleaning the windows
Yeah,
at the same time, right?
exactly.
And so I made those actually three strategic, a lot of strategic hires actually within this last week. I hired a VA, hired a social
You
media
did.
person, I hired like a whole editing team. Yeah, because I was just like, I think it's time for the next
It's
evolution.
time.
And it's like
Yeah.
letting go of the old identities and who you
Yeah.
actually are. It takes a long time, especially for like high achievers, because I don't know how many cycles I've been through burnout. By the way, when you said burnout, I was like, ooh, that is me. I've been through multiple cycles of that. So I just thought that was really interesting that we're actually
Yeah.
going through a very similar season. But I do have another
Thanks for
question for
sharing.
you. Yeah, of course. I do have another question for you. Like,
Yeah.
if you're to look over the next few years, I guess, where do you want this coaching business to take you? Do you have any secret dreams, big ambitions? Very curious on your.
Yeah, so I want the business to take me to a place where I feel really comfortable combining all these different roles that I embody. Meaning I want to have sort of like the work-life alignment. Yeah, it doesn't have to be balance. I don't really believe in balance, but more like an alignment. So something really in alignment with what I stand for. Like I still want to be the mom who picks up the kids from the schoolyard, but I also want to be, this badass CEO running a coaching business, but on my terms and conditions. So that doesn't mean massive skill per se, because there are trade-offs to be made, right? I also still want to maintain a healthy relationship to my husband, right? It also requires intentional effort and energy. I want to be there for my grandmother and for my father. Like that's what I want. And I want my business to do that in the most impactful, purposeful, and easiest way possible. So I'm trying to kind of hack life a little bit. That would be amazing.
Yeah. It'll be interesting in these next few years to see your progress too, because I feel like with your business, you're just like at the S curve, where it like shoots up. And it might be like a little few flutters, honestly, but it might shoot up. Yeah,
Why do you think that? What makes you
You're
say
starting to
that?
you're starting to let go. You're starting to think about hires, right? And that's usually the turning point.
Yeah.
Of course, you can make a few bad hires, and then that's where you get the flutter and stuff. But like the ups and downs. But yeah, I think if you're starting to get the pieces in play, and especially with your offer selection too, it's just really interesting to see. I could see it really taking off and stuff too, but I could see it also struggling for a little bit. But I think in the long term, it'll be actually pretty positive, based on what I'm seeing.
Yeah, thank you. And I do believe that like it is great to get your message into the world and to really help as much people as I can. I just don't want to do it in a way that I blow myself up. Like I need to eat my own dog food. So I need to, if I help people to master their energy, to master their life, if I help those high achievers to not burn out, I need to find a way to do that feels authentic and not hit the wall. So I need to pace. I just sometimes need to pace myself. Yeah, I guess that's what I try to do, which is super natural for a high achiever.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because like one of the things that is also on my mind as you're thinking about scaling this business, you did mention a few things like being able to balance the family while growing this business, right?
Yeah.
But what are some other bottlenecks and challenges that you're noticing on your end as you're thinking about scaling?
I would say finding the right pace to scale, meaning not hiring immediately 10 people, but just like making sure that people fully understand your business. Like it is in the end, like, and also same for you, but like I am the brand. And not to say that this in an egoistic or egocentric way, but more like in the end, the person needs to understand me. So I need to invest time and energy into making sure that the person understands what I aim to build, but also what I stand for. Yeah, I guess like, and then what we said, like letting go of control, but also I think dealing with maybe a bit of like perfectionism, which sometimes can kick in. It's like, okay, and somebody does it in a different way, and that's also fine, right? Like it doesn't have to go exactly like I want it to go. But I think it would be such a wonderful feeling, like to really be able to rely and lean on other people to grow your business. And at the same time, I need to pinch myself that a person would be willing to work for me and help me grow my business. I mean, that's a weird thought still in my mind.
Yeah.
Did you not have that? That you were like, this person just wants to help me and help make my life easier?
Are you asking if I have that?
Yeah.
Actually, sometimes I know I do have those people in my life, but I'm not always cognizant of that, if that makes sense, right? So sometimes like I'll give a great example. Like let's take a very violent sport like MMA and all that and jujitsu. Like I do that stuff. And like as you're getting punched in the face or as you're getting strangled, you're like, oh my God, no one's gonna save me. But in the back, like as you're going out, as you're about to pass out, you can hear your coach yelling in the corner and stuff like that too.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
it's like one of those moments where you know you have people in the background, but sometimes I'm
Yeah.
not always cognizant of it because I'm worried about getting strangled or surviving in that moment.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
sometimes, yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes with business is like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like being able to rely on others, like independence and autonomy has got me also where I am today.
Achiever trap. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, but now it's also okay to let go. And I just really love the feeling that I'm
Mm.
currently experiencing where I'm like, oh, wow, this is actually kind of nice that the person did this for me or that. So I can also see myself wanting more of that in the future.
One question I do have for you, if we could,
Yeah.
let's change up the energy for a bit. I love
Yes.
going deep, but I also know that we have a time.
Yeah.
We
Let's do it.
have to be mindful of our
Let's
time.
switch gears.
Yeah, I want to play a game called Good Investment, Bad Investment. And
Hmm.
I'm very curious to hear your best business investment on your coaching business and the worst one that you kind of wish you got your money back from. So I'm curious, best investment, worst investment for you.
Ooh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, the best one is easy. The best one has been getting a coach myself. Like,
Mm,
by a mile, constantly working on myself. I always have a coach, business coach, mentors. Like I have a dream team of people around me who push me, support me, challenge me, give me feedback. Without them, it would be very difficult for me to kind of build my business as I go. So for sure. So I'm always spending money on myself in to raise my level of consciousness. Worst investment was someone like, I will not say names, but was
yeah,
an
of course.
agency who tried to build my website. And it really looked like a cheap call center. When I saw the mock-up, it looked like I was available from 9 to 5. And I was having like a red phone in my hand. It was just like, I just didn't know. I didn't know where to start. And I thought, first of all, I thought, am I being pranked? Seriously. Then I thought, oh my gosh, this is seriously what they've built. Like, how should I now like go about this feedback? I tried one cycle and then I just pulled the plug. I said, you can keep the money, but I'm not gonna invest more energy. This is just not gonna work. It's so far off what I want to build. So yeah.
How do you typically decide like what to invest in? What's your decision making process usually?
I very heavily rely on intuition. For sure. I do believe it's not a fluffy feeling. It's literally like a super intelligence that extracts from multiple sources and senses, etc. So I'm all up. Intuition is my I like the energy that I pick up. But obviously for like major investments, consulting other people, do a bit of like sanity check before I do it. But I would say mostly it's just like, okay, if this is what I want, does it really feel good? And do I trust a person to be able to deliver this? And yeah, then sometimes you can make a mistake or stuff takes a bit longer, but yeah, I'm rarely off.
Last question. Let's say, knock on wood, I hope this never happens to you, but your business disappears for some rhyme or reason. You're pretty much starting at day one. You have 0 followers, 0 clients, zero the relational capital wisdom that you currently have. And I'm curious, what would your first 90 days kind of look like if you had to rebuild the business again, rebuild the coaching?
These are tough questions. You're like, just one more question. I'm like, oh, wow. And now what is my 90-day plan? I do have followers or not?
No followers in this case.
Okay. No network?
No network.
Oh my
Unless you want
God.
to go door knocking on stuff you can.
I think what I would change, would I change it? Yeah, I think I would change it. I would ask people more. Like, what is it that you would need? How can I sort of like serve, and not serve you, but I see that a lot around me, that where people are much more open and more in dialogue with people when they build their business. So not like making the classical mistake to build something like somewhere in your room, and then after 2 years, you're out and you're like, and nobody wants your thing anymore. It's like, I don't care. So I would stay very close to my client. Very, very, very close. And what I would also do, and this might sound a bit cheesy, but I hope it's not interpreted in that way. I would really come from an energy of gratefulness and love, where I would also in the beginning just be also like give stuff away, but kind of make people love you. That's, I think, what I would do. I think that's Same as with, let's say, the CEO of Spanx, right? Like she's the classical example. Like I think she's so amazing in what she does, but you can sense with everything that she's doing and building that it's all about the customers, right? So I would, in that initial phase, I would double down on those two things for sure.
You know what I could also see you doing? Like for you, it fits your personality. But I feel like you'd be a great person just to host events, actually, in real life events and whatnot. I feel like you're a really great gatherer of people. There was this one book as you're speaking, because of your energy, right? It's called The 2-Hour Cocktail Party. And it's basically about, I mean, there's some corny stuff in there, but basically it's about how to like set up really great events and become seen as a connector. And I could see you just like doing that over and over and over again. There's spins on it. There's a concept called the champagne soiree where you invite probably max of 6 to 8 people. There's 2 rules. So you invite one person, but you have to bring a person that no one else knows. And you have to bring like some sort of like champagne for everyone to try and stuff too. So that's like the champagne.
You're reading my mind.
Yeah, I don't drink, but like if I could see you hosting those events and like really taking.
That would be. I'm definitely going to. I mean it. I'm definitely going to look this up because I think it's a really great way of gathering people in a natural way that doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that it's like a smaller number because I like a bit of depth.
Yeah.
And where you get like instant feedback and see if stuff resonates or not. So I'm definitely going to look this up. This might maybe become one of the things that I will be doing. So you're invited for sure. if I ever do it.
Over to the Netherlands, that's insane. But if, like I said, if you have any questions about it, just hit me up on like LinkedIn.
I will.
Claudia, how do people find and connect with you?
They can follow me on LinkedIn. They can follow me on Instagram. They can subscribe to my newsletter, but I would say go to LinkedIn first, and then there's all the information to connect with me in the best way.
Cool. I think we have all your socials. If we don't, make sure to drop them to me.
I will.
But thank you so much, Claudia, for just sharing all your experience, especially like more vulnerable stuff of where you're at in your business currently right now, the secret sauce of like how you think about offers and stuff. And I think you're like, I think honestly, out of all the guests, you're very forthcoming of like, and very conscious, like, oh yeah, there's so much more for me to do and stuff like that. You mentioned it on the call and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. This is like the vulnerability that people want sometimes. So I appreciate you coming on the call.
Yeah. And I appreciate the different angles and like also the number of questions and actually where this conversation landed. Like I never would have thought up front that I would talk about offers or about like insecurities about my business, but I think this is what the world needs more of. Not sugarcoating like all the shiny front end stuff, but also sharing some struggles. So really great purpose that you have with this podcast. I love it.
Maybe we'll have you on for a part 2 or something. So yeah.
Yeah, would love to.
Right, guys, follow Claudia. We'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Thank you. See ya.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.